pants up, losing a little weight. Uh, I got to set the focus on this thing. Well, okay. Uh, be real quick with this. You see the title, You Stink. Some of you brothers, you have a hard time staying out of the area of attempts at insults, disrespect, and when somebody doesn't agree with you. Why does a part of your proclamation of who you are has to include trying to demean someone else? Can somebody help me with that? Why do you feel that in order to legitimize your stance, your platform, some of you guys, you done went 8 wild with this content stuff, with this platform stuff. Look, I'm on some brothers' platforms and I'm on some brothers' pages. Again, I'm not going to drop any names because I don't want anyone to think that I am trying to defame or depopularize or trying to legitimize myself. Heck, I don't have a platform. I don't monetize. I don't put work into having a popular YouTube channel. Some people may say, what's the purpose of having one? Well, simple. It's proclamation. It's proclamation time for me. That's the story of my life. You can see the progression of my belief, my faith, my philosophical stance, and my eternal evolving into who I am. You can see it. So it's not so much being here to be popular, or is it being here to get money? I don't get money off of YouTube. You know, I have a source of supply that no matter what venue I am in, be it something that is lucrative or something that is just, as some people say, stagnant when it comes to economic advancement and all of that stuff. I have a source of supply. I don't have to hustle on YouTube. I don't have to create content so people will come around. I proclaim. And one thing I know about my proclamation comes to pass. What I say comes to pass. Some of us, we are just that way. Some of us, we are just made that way. And it's why, which I'll get back to my point. Some of you brothers on here, you don't realize that what you say about someone else in disgust or disdain or in attempt to demean, whatever you have as value, you've diminished it. Somebody needs to tell you that. You've destroyed whatever you have as value. I had a brother say that anyone that came to a place in Africa where you could not provide guns and you bring your family there, I had a brother say that you're a punk. Now, brothers, you on here, you calling yourself black or Kemetic, or you got these titles, and you are attempting, I guess, to represent wisdom when it comes to the people who call themselves this. The last thing you want on your portfolio, on your role, the last thing you want on your resume when you get ready to graduate to another place is you had a hand in speaking against the man who is being persecuted. Do you know the biggest weapon that the oppressor, the enemy, I don't have no oppressor. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. If you have dark skin, you have an oppressor. Let me tell you what oppression is. You may be able to uh, pull out your pop gun. You might even be able to uh, chip a tooth or two in a brawl. But most brothers that I know can handle. We can handle ourselves from here. Most of us. But I don't know, and that might be a generalization, but I'm not gonna spend too much time. I know me. I'll chip a tooth or swallow an eye, you know, in a minute. But I'm just saying, you have on your record that you are demeaning. You can't just give your opinion. You can't just present something that may trump something that another brother says, or something that may be a higher level of understanding about a particular subject. You can't just say that. You have to demean the brother, or try to demean the brother, because you remember, you never can do anything to another man. You can only do what that man allows to come in and affect him spiritually. That's it. That's the only way. Whatever you can say or do to get into another man's soul, get into his mind, get into his emotions, that is because that man let you in. And some of you have this trait, and you think it's strong, and you think it's masculine, but it is like your oppressors. And I'm gonna tell you, it's probably one of the most feminine things that I have ever seen. You will get into a verbal cat fight with a brother on something that is insignificant, or something that may be significant in the particular area where we deal with world thought. Might be a significant subject. But one thing that should not be included in that comment, that statement, or that difference of opinion that you make, or my computer glasses, they got to be about 20 years old. Something that is not included in that is your attempt at insulting or demeaning your brother. You get what I said? Your attempt at insulting or demeaning your brother. That should not be included in your comments, in your statement. Do you know words are spirit? Words come out of your breath. Your breath is your life. Words are vibrations in the environment that come out of the vibrations in you. That's why you should be careful what you say, because some of your thoughts create things in you that when they come out, they produce a negative vibration, they have negative results, and they are indignant of what is in you. And you're going to say, because somebody comes to Ghana, you know, I was on your thread, so I heard you say it. I was there commenting, so I heard you say it. And, you know, more than likely, you know, the person's not going to see this uh, because, like I said, I don't monetize, and my content is not really popular. My content doesn't draw people. Okay, I say things that uh, are profound, but in a certain uh, level of thinking or interest, because I don't want to try to act like I am above or superior to anyone. But unless you are after a particular thing, you're not going to really be on a page like this. You're not going to, because where I speak from, it does not accommodate nor appeal to popular thinking. But anyway, that being said, um, the person literally said you're a punk, and literally, literally attempted to degrade uh, the situation. And, you know, he made a comment about the Israelites. All right. He made a comment about something that happened with the Israelites here in God. And so my comment was, hey, Israelites, know who you are. And immediately, you know, jumped on it, and, don't be bringing that stuff here, don't be speaking that stuff here. Me, I don't like to bring things that are offensive. I don't know, sometimes where a person is coming from, what kind of boundaries they have up as it relates to hearing certain things. So I try not to, get on someone's page and start preaching or commenting a sermon. But in this instance, it just came out of me emotionally because of what uh, some Ghanaians did to some of my Yasharel brothers, and it just came out of me instantly, for the brothers to know that stuff. And the brother attacked like I was a wolf trying to eat his chicken. And it was very, very demeaning. But then after that, when he made the statement, as a matter of fact, he had made the statement about you're a punk if you are in some place like Ghana and you bring your family to Ghana and you don't have no ability to defend yourself. You are a punk. You're irresponsible. Just a degrading thing. And I want to say this. There's an algorithm that is electronic, and I'm gonna say this to some of you, you may have a problem with it, but before it is electronic, before it is energetic, it is spiritual. You hear me? It's spiritual. It's spiritual. And those words vibrate. And those words show what is in you. And they create a stronghold of persecution and oppression. Anew, brand new. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. King David. Shalom, shalom. And you have to understand that your message is diminished. Yeah, my king, I saw on the I saw on your one of your videos. West Africa, huh? You have to understand that your negativity is first inside. It is first inwardly destructive. It is first inwardly destructive. By the time it destroys, by the time it demeans, by the time it hits out there, you have already broken the law of increase, the law of creativity, the law of love, the law of building and prosperity. You've broken it. You've broken it because you cannot tear down from inside, project that outside, and then think you're going to build anything. Your energy to build is diminishing. It's only a matter of time. While the earth remains, so remains seed time and harvest. It's only a matter of time that what you've sown, what you've spoken out in the air, the vibration hits and it'll reach you and it'll find you. A so-called black man, we call ourselves that. I'm not knocking anybody. But a so-called black man is the last person that you want to try to demean. I tell you, I don't care what your philosophy is. I don't care how long you have had a history of so-and-so is someone who is well respected. You set the ball rolling in motion, the demolition ball toward anything you build. Whenever you say a demeaning word about one of your brothers, and then we're not all brothers because we're melanated. I get that. But whether you are a brother who is um, connected directly, or whether you are related because of a genetic trait that we have, your words should not be stout, insulting, arrogant, or demeaning against a so-called brother or black man, whatever you want to call us. And that's the most I can offer you, because you do not get out of anything any more or any less than what you put in it. Your words are intended to plant seeds, to create an effect. Now, a lot of you feel like your emotions is enough cause for you to say something demeaning or disrespectful. Then that says something about you. That says that you are weaker than you think. That says that you are more impoverished than you think. I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying, if you are into that thing of presenting your truth, presenting your philosophy, and along with that presentation, you have to do a destruction and a destroying and a disrespect and a demeaning of another man, you will not build anything. We say, my brother, okay, yeah, Goshen is here. Wherever you go, wherever you go, Shin is taking place. Shin, Shem, shine. Wherever you go, I see you. If you are here, we need to meet. You know, my brother, my righteous one, I was headed to Gambia. That's where I was headed first. Kid you not, it was Gambia, and then it was Tanzania, and then I ended up here in Ghana. And Most High has made it clear to me why I'm here. But I'm making another stop. It'll be in the east, and I'll hit you when I get there. You'll know that I'm there, and I'll let you know. But it's imperative that in the regions that we're in, we come together. It's imperative that we come together, and I really appreciate you stepping in here. You know, any of you, if you see this, I don't get a lot of views on here at all, but my brother, Truth Colors, uh, King Dawid, you know, David, Judge of Righteousness. You have to, you have to start now leaning your mind toward unity at all costs. And let me tell you what happens, what is going to happen when we unify. What is going to happen when we come together is we are going to discover how fragmented we are. We are going to discover how incomplete we are without one another. And you got to be open for that. You got to be ready for that. And some of you, you have a problem. This is another thing that we do to diminish each other. Thank you for showing up, brother, because it stimulates things in me that are connected to what this message is about. I'm not calling you stink, not you, brother. But you have to recognize that no matter how wise you may be in a particular field, in a particular area, and some of us, we are wise concerning many things. We have the ability to administrate in many different venues and places of increase in our created world. This is our world, and when all of the shenanigans are over, you'll see. But we let that gift, and some of us, we have multiplicitous gifts. We let that gift cause us to uh, pose ourselves as an island. Now, don't get me wrong. All of our gifts are unique. All of our gifts are unique, and all of our gifts have levels of rank And we got to stop being afraid of that. We got to stop being afraid that someone may have look, I lost some of my teeth. Do you know that diminishes the intensity of the anointing and the gift that I have? And I have to wait on something to replenish me. Because whether it's a hair, teeth, fingernail, skin, or it is a part of what you carry as apparatus to facilitate your advancement in the things that concern our life. Everything about you. And the most important thing you have is your health. Now, riding it back around to my point for this video, you cannot tear up any concept or thought of unity by your words and expect to continue as a viable source among us. Look, we, because of the sins of our ancestors, and those of you calling yourself other things other than Yashael, Israel, or Hebrew, those of you calling yourselves other things than that, I'm not here to diminish or demean the intensity and the persuasion that you have about who you say you are. I believe people who will say they are. I believe whatever man declares about himself, that's what he is. That's what he is. I don't want to say anything beyond that. But I will say this. When you declare something about yourself, you better be careful that you do not allow any disagreement that you may have with another person declaring something about himself, because he knows who he is. And even if he don't know who he is to you, even if he doesn't know who he is to you, he knows who he is. And his creator knows who he is. And his creator is the one that gives him the energy to declare who he is. And I leave it there. See, a part of how we demean one another subtly is we can sit and see that someone may not know something. They may not know something that we know, and they may utter something that is beneath what we know. What's the best way to handle that? In a world where, again, because of our ancestors, mistakes that they made, decisions that they made, positions that they put themselves in rebellion to what was in them and what was given to them and the placement that they had and all that was benevolently showered on them. They made decisions to go against it, and it left you in the place that you were born in. I know you don't like that. I've heard some brothers say, I wouldn't even deal with a God. I don't believe in a God that would have me born in something. I don't believe in a God that takes that kind of constraint and control over my life. I don't believe in a God that would do that to me. Well, let me say this. Believing in a God, believing in a God, believing in a God who is taking advantage of you, had you born into something. That's not what we ascribe to our Creator when we say we believe that because of the sins of our ancestors, there was a consequence that we were born into. We're not ascribing something to a God. Number one, most of us don't ascribe to the term God when it talks about our source. Most of us talk about our power. Most of us talk about our creator. Most of us talk about our rewarder, our provider, our protector. There are gods, many, dog spelled backwards, many. So when you start talking about God, but let's take that term God. And for those of you who hear the narrative that Yasharal brings, and that when we start talking about who we are and how history has played out and future prophecy and occurrence will play out in relation and connection and agreement with the God who has delivered us temporarily into the hands of our enemies, our oppressors, our captors. When we talk about him and you view that in the context of a God that you don't want to serve, I think the question or the statement when someone says that is hypocritical. I think it's hypocritical, and I think it is it's a replacement uh, confidence. It's a replacement posture. You know why? Because you are serving a God that has you in something that is unfavorable. Because you obey the laws of the governments that you're in. Because if you're doing anything with money, you are dealing with an unreasonable God. But you don't spell that God G-O-D. You spell that God I-R-S. I rest. If you have a mortgage, see, IRS they're criminal. There's nothing reasonable about them. They bully, they intimidate. Oh man, you better watch what you say on the internet. If you got that thought, you're serving a God. You see what I'm saying? And the only way you're not serving a God that you don't want to serve because he's oppressive and he's unreasonable, the only way you're not serving that God is if you are sitting in the seat and the authority that you submit to comes from within. If you are submitting from the heart to authority that is on the outside of you, you might as well grab you a Bible and jump in the car with all of the God servers, as you call them, from the most, as some of you think, ignorant Christian, all the way to the most advanced esoteric thinker, or get in the car with them, because these are gods that are ruling in our lives and bringing these unreasonable things. One of the reasons I left the land of my captivity, and it's not any different here. It's not any different here. Wherever you find Western influence, you are dealing with just a hidden form of your oppressor. It's not different here. It's not different here. I don't want to get off on this tangent, but those of you who see some of us who have made the migration over here, don't come over here because you're excited about being in Africa. Africa is going to have to get rid of the name Africa. Oh, yes. They're going to have to, eventually, they're going to have to get rid of that name. I have this on, and it has a pattern on it. Good thing it's a kente pattern, a kente cloth pattern, but it has a pattern on it. But this mass of land, as we've known it to be shaped, has individual boundaries all over it, has European titles all over it. And as the land, so the people. Remember what we were talking about words that you say? It was a very demeaning thing for a man to come, Cypriacus, Africanus, Africanus, different way of saying his name, I guess. But it was a very demeaning thing for this man to come and title this place Africa, name this place Africa, and then others following suit and giving it all these names. names that are not indigenous to the children of Cain, Ham, Cush, Kut. You see what I'm saying? Cush and Put. This is deeming, subduing, uh, spiritual, authoritative, constricting demographic that we live in all over the world. And so while you don't want to be subject to the one who he doesn't call himself God, he doesn't call himself God. We can get into that another time. It'll take too long. But for you to be saying you don't want to be subject to the one who has created all things in subjection unto him and who is pleased to subject us to vanity and hope, you have to understand how you don't have the authority to say which God you serve or which God you're not going to serve. You don't have the authority to say that. I know you think that because you were born in the illusionary place of democracy, Republican, Roman law, with all of its borrowed Kemetic energies, spirits, dynamics. You think that you have the authority to say which God you're going to serve. And so you get in this posture that is hypocritical. And anytime you say anything that is in your mind mocking, I'll deal with that later. Mocking, demeaning, or out of your disgust for the experience that we've had. Us so-called Black people, we have had a decrepit, murderous, venomous experience with spiritual things, with relation to the Bible. Our experience has been demeaning. It has been murderous. Every dynamic connected to those writings that gave us the spooky, Kabbalic impression that we were doing something good in a construct that was pagan and complete with seminaries and schools of theology and melanated men trained by their oppressors. We have been in the most racist, most demeaning, most misinformative house of all time. And it is our biggest problem because we were told something about our history and our current circumstances and our future that is not true. Because if it did not come from within us and then within us individually, then it's a lie. And so the point I'm stating is it has given us this impression that we are somehow away from ourselves and we are somehow being sissies or punks or ignorant or fools when we submit to something about the creator that has been handled by our oppressor, but it details our experience. And you hear everything from the white man wrote the Bible all the way to the statement the other brother made. I don't want to serve a God like that. Brother, I love this brother. Oh, I love this brother. This brother is on the money with many of his perceptions and what he sees about our people, but it's not good enough. Because when you make the statement that you don't want to serve someone who gave you breath because you've been misinformed about his intentions for you, who he is and who you are in relation to him, you are actually forfeiting the authority that you have. See, the only place that you have authority and power is if you are submitted to the energy, the source that gave you that power in the first place. So while you have been fed a loose dog food, fried and doo-doo interpretation of your creator, it has spoiled you and it has made you go over into a place where you have no authority. You have no authority. Anytime you say that you come from something that you have no relationship with as it relates to having that entity's power. See, the God, let's just use this word since it's what we understand. The God of the Bible does not present himself the way Christianity and religion shrouded the truth about him and handed to you. That's not how he presents himself. And anytime I hear someone talking about, I wouldn't serve a God who kills thousands of people. I wouldn't serve a God who makes me responsible for my ancestors' sins. Anytime I hear someone saying that, it is clear to me that they either read that book or they were handed that book through the glasses of their oppressors. And your oppressors can come to you in melanated skin because your oppressors are the teachers of your melanated preachers, your oppressors. These men are your oppressors' servants. They're his slaves. Many of them are his dogs. And you can tell how these Christian pastors go at you and eat you alive for truth. And they have their way of demeaning people too. They're in on this you stink thing too. Now, back to the point of you have no authority to choose and to say which God you're not going to serve. Because one of these powers, one of these entities will control you and will have you see it. First of all, if you are not serving your creator, you're not serving anyone. You're being served. You're being served and you're being eaten alive. You're on a platter and you're being scattered. And I don't mean in the sense of how we have been scattered. I mean you are being parted and you're being diminished. And until you come to a frame of mind that connects you to your power, that's a better way of saying God. Until you come into a frame of mind that connects you to your power, you're not serving anything. You're not serving anything. I'm not insulting you. I'm just saying you're not serving anything. You're being served. You're being diminished. You're being eaten alive. And most people in that position, their message is filled with insults and attempt to demean. I had the same person who called brothers who come into West Africa, who come into Ghana, uh, you know, uh, Voodoo land, whatever, is here. Let me dispel an illusion though. Voodoo is everywhere you go. Certainly in churches. Voodoo is everywhere you go. As a matter of fact, uh, the Western men, European men, Caucasian men, and all forms of Caucasoids, maybe Chinese, but they all do voodoo. Let me tell you how. They come over in the land of voodoo. And through the love of money by the leaders, that evil is transferred. I'm sorry. Gotta get my teeth fixed. That evil is transferred to them. And they work that evil because of the love of money in the leaders in the land. They work that evil against the people. And it works. It works. My statement remains true. There's a foul stench coming from you if you feel the need to demean someone else that may not have your truth and that doesn't believe in you. You see, our master, he that is our Lord, our Savior, the bishop and captain of our souls, he never demeaned his brothers. He never starved, disrespected his servants. And he called them friends. And unless you can view someone as a friend, a fellow heir and beneficiary of your wealth, don't get me talking about money. We're going to have to do something about how we are with money. I'm going to tell you something. If we don't handle these things right, contention and how we view our brother, because some of us are murderers. Some of us are angry at our brothers as if our indignation is righteous. And we are angry at our brothers because of a disagreement, because of something that may have been said that didn't go along with what we believe. And we're murderers. You realize that? Do you realize your anger is murder? It's destructive. It's a cancer. It is the nephew, the cousin, and it can raw up on top and be the father of bitterness. And we know what bitterness does. It's a cancer that eats up anything and anybody that's around it. What we're doing with this poison that we spew out of our mouth and what we're doing with money, if it doesn't change, there will have to be a new go-around and a new generation of people. And the Most High can do it. The Most High can do it. He can do things that appear to defy his prophetic word. And that is usually an occurrence that happens around our refusal to step into our place. Because this is the power we have. This is the power we am. And if you are walking around touting yourself as being this YouTube guru, and yet you are filled with insults and words that diminish someone that might be your brother or at best your cousin, you come to Africa. Come to Africa and see how what you're arguing against your brother carries no weight here. Because a lot of these people here don't see you as their brother. Now, it doesn't matter what you know. A lot of these people don't see you as their brother, and I'm going to tell you something else. A lot of these people here are not your brother. I've coined the term, and I don't use it loosely, don't use it lightly. But when I look at the history of our people, the sons of Noah, most of these people over here I consider my cousin. I don't consider them in the same place genetically, chronologically, familiarly, as it relates to the mishpach, our family. I don't see them the same way, but it doesn't mean I disrespect them. But now, if you come over here with your disrespect and your demeanor, your elitist, malicious attitude, let me just say this before I finish that. This brother actually had the nerve to say, because of the etymology in the scripture that says the Most High, this brother actually had the nerve to say, I, I wish I would see someone the Most High. I slapped the taste out of his mouth. I'd go up to him and slap him. Ain't no Most High. If it was a Most High, I'd go up there and slap him for what? Hey, blasphemy. Slap the Most High, but on YouTube, submitting to the IRS. Can somebody help me with that? Somebody help me with that. I mean, this is not me demeaning anyone. The writer says, the fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Now let's remove the etymology of that. And let's look at what the person is saying, what the writer is saying. He's actually saying, a person who is saying there is no being higher than me that has the power to manipulate environments, to create me and place me in an environment. There is no one like that in my life. The writer calls that person a fool. A fool, not me. The writer calls that person a fool. Now, here's where I stand. I didn't put this breath in my body. You didn't put the breath in your body. So here's where we go with this. As long as you have life in you, unless something is coming that you recognize is attempting to destroy you and your place, your voice, your family, and your right to prosper. And I don't just mean with dirty money, paper, documents, notes, or electronic. I mean, prosper in all that you are. Prosper. Coming to destroy it, like some of these quack physicians, these pharmaceutical devils. With these cats, you don't need a devil. Unless someone is coming to destroy you that way, the only thing that you should send in the vibrational air, and especially toward your brother, and oh my, towards someone who's bigger than you, who could take that breath away from you in a heartbeat. Unless you are coming with something that perpetuates that life in you, you should be quiet. Because when you open your mouth, it's foul. And lest you think that I'm participating in what I said we should not do, ask yourself, what do your words do to the unity of the faith that we must endeavor to keep? See, we have a responsibility as members one of another, as family who is persecuted all over the world. We have a responsibility to keep the true doctrine alive amongst us. And I'll say this, with all the literary dishonesty and spiritual trickery going on in the atmosphere, the true doctrine is based more on what the Creator knows about us and downpours into us. It's more based on that than what it is based on, than is substantiated by what we know. The writer in the book of Timothy says the foundation of the power, the Most High, actually some of you, many of us, the foundation of God stands sure, having this seal: the Lord knows them who are his. So it doesn't matter what anybody is saying they know about you or know about themselves. The foundation of the Most High is sure, having this seal: he knows you. He knows you. And there are too many people judging things before the time. We were taught to judge nothing before the time. Can we judge what is happening? Yes. Can we judge what is right and wrong? Yes, we can. Can we judge, substantiate, or some of you, what you're doing is very feminine because you're attempting to spiritually demasculate someone that you didn't create just because you know something. And I want to remind you that knowledge puffs up. The only thing that builds is the power of love. It's not a feeling. It's a commitment. It's an action. It's a posture. It's a hope. It's an authority, and it will affect your actions, your demeanor. It may have you to correct, but it'll never have you to destroy, demean, dishonor. And I'm telling you, when you walk in that type of behavior, get ready, because everything you're doing is going to come down on it. You hear me? Everything you're doing is going to fall. Everything. You're here, we need to meet. I'm working on a few things here. So I know I am the Son of Yah who has been prophesied to come. As you say, my brother, I believe the whole Bible as our history. Absolutely. My Father has let me know this. All of so-called Israel is guilty of innocent blood. I bear witness to that testimony. Have a great day. You too, my brother. Here's what I say. As I said earlier, a man am who he says he am. But you are who you say you are until the one who made you reveals to you something else. There be gods many and lords many. And there are gods and there are lords. And then there is an admonition that says, if one says to you, lo, he is here, don't go. If they say to you, no, he is there, don't go. And this is where we're at, folks. Let the redeemed of he who is say so. Because you have what you say. And the foundation of truth rests on someone bigger than me, knowing who I am. Men are who they say they are. And when men go beyond their time, everything here changes. You have a commitment from the one who made you to be changed from mortal to immortal. Literally. Don't let anyone tell you that this is a book of fables. This is a book that has been manipulated. This is a book that has been tampered with. But this book is like everything else that the Most High gave you. Men bake bread that you eat, and you don't know what they're doing when they bake that bread. You don't know where their hands have been. You don't know what they're speaking over that bread. And when you get that bread in your hand, you have a responsibility to sanctify that bread. It's the same thing with written truth. You have to have the faith that in you, because you are doing this, is the life, the power, and the authority conducive to your gift of the one that made you. You have to have that faith. And if you let anything external, if you let anyone external contest that faith in you, that's not anyone's fault. That's your fault. Because when you stand before your Maker, He is not going to ask you what someone else believed about themselves and what you believed about them. He is only going to be concerned with that He put in you. You, as if no one else is in the world. So consistent with the message that is intended for this video, to speak a word against brothers who feel the need to demean someone else as they bring forth, as many people say, their truth. I need to say, consistent with that word, is the word that you don't need to let anyone's truth. That's an illusion. No one has their truth. Truth does not belong to anyone. Truth is a person. Truth is the one who possesses those who are His. Brings them up in the nurture and admonition of the Most High, and delivers them from all of their captors and enemies. That's truth. and never let anyone's truth prevail over your spirit. You've not been given the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and a sound mind. And you're not too sound in your thinking if someone else has to think for you and tell you who they are not. And you shouldn't be too put off when someone tells you who they are. Because who someone else is not your concern. Who are you? And what is giving you ease and comfortability? With demeaning, disrespecting, or dishonoring, as far as I can see what is written, your fellow man. What is causing you to put forth what you believe, or even what you know? What is causing you to put that forth and sprinkle it with, and nigga, you ain't, and you this and you that? What's causing you to do that? And I would say to you emphatically as I close this chapter, that's foul. That every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. Then he will have peace, he will have authority, and he will have power with his maker. Because in case you haven't noticed, the Most High is working in his people. It is his good pleasure to give us the kingdom, righteousness, joy, and peace in the Ruach HaKodesh, and it is not meat and drink. It is the circumstance of everything being right, whole, easily entreated by joy and peace. It is the fruit of the Spirit alive in you. Dare to think that about yourself. Some of you, you're good. You're good. You're good because your trekking and your study have allowed you to know certain things. And we give praise and we give honor. We praise one another when we do well. Oh, you don't praise man, you don't praise. We honor and praise one another, and we allow one another to have our time of anointing, of refreshing, of authority as we administer what we are. But those of us who have been privileged to give in any way, remember not to diminish, not to destroy, and not to dishonor your brother. Because when you do, you diminish, destroy, and dishonor yourself. This is truth. This is the word. And it is my power. And I say that without an ounce of desire to destroy anything about you. But now you ain't going to do that, and you ain't going to run that up in here. If you are coming to stand on the head, the shoulders, the neck, the mouth, and constrict and demean and dishonor your brother, you're already dead in the water. And the longer you do that, you stink. I'll see you next time.